Imagine an international drug trafficker being brought down by their fondness for fine art. Well, that's exactly what happened to Raffaele Imperiale, a cultured crime boss who became known as the Van Gogh gangster. Now Imperiale, the Neapolitan mafia's top cocaine importer, has become perhaps the biggest snitch in organised crime history.
He's given 15 years, 9 months this week.
So much for Omerta. Now Imperiale, who's facing 15 years in Italy's notoriously tough prisons for mafiosi, is willing to say anything to save his own skin. He's handed over a string of bombshell revelations to Italian prosecutors that look set to destroy Europe's infamous super cartel and its so-called boss of bosses, Daniel Kinahan.
Dubai police has arrested one of Italy's most wanted criminals, one of the world's most notorious drug and weapons traffickers.
And it all began with a pair of tiny Van Gogh paintings stolen from an Amsterdam museum way back in 2002. So how did we get here? How did a stolen Van Gogh lead to the downfall of Europe's most powerful cartel? And what happens now that one of its leaders is turning on his own? Let's dive into one of the wildest organised crime stories you'll ever hear. It's even stranger than Pablo Escobar's Hippo collection. It's December 7th, 2002, just before dawn in Amsterdam, and two masked men, Octave the Monkey Durham and Henk Bieslein, approached the Van Gogh Museum.
They came here to this spot. They climbed over this gate and set their ladder against that wall.
The seasoned art thieves prop a ladder against the back wall, climb onto the roof and smash a window with a sledgehammer. Inside, they sprint past other masterpieces and rip two Van Goghs off the wall. With alarms blaring, they drop the paintings out the window, slide down a rope and vanish into the night. All in under 4 minutes.
Of all artists whose work have been stolen, Vincent van Gogh ranks pretty much at the top.
But then in 2004, police arrest them after a single cap left behind at the scene linked Durham to the crime. But the paintings were gone, presumed lost to the criminal underworld forever. Fast forward to 2016. Acting on a tip-off about the Van Goghs, Italian police raid a Mollis Villa, south of Naples. Hidden in a wall cavity next to the kitchen, they discover the two unframed Van Goghs.
Italian police holding tight as they revealed that the painting stolen 14 years ago had been found during an investigation into mafia mobsters.
But this is much more than an art theft case. The house belonged to the parents of none other than Raffaele Imperiale, and the seizure sets off a chain reaction with major consequences. Now, it's fair to say that being in possession of some very high-profile and pretty significant stolen artwork was a silly move for Europe's biggest cocaine trafficker. The amazing discovery attracted global attention and put him under much deeper scrutiny from investigators.
Paintings tend to be stolen to be used as collateral, so they really just go onto the black market, and oftentimes they'll never be exhibited.
Scrutiny which ended up exposing a criminal network that stretched from the remote mountains of Peru to the glittering towers of Dubai and everywhere in between. Now facing years of solitary confinement for his crimes, Imperiale has done the unthinkable and turned supergrass, flipping on the very organization that he helped to build. Imperiale may have brought himself some time, but in the underworld, snitches don't get second chances, and he's a marked man. If he spills the beans on his fellow gangsters, he'll be protected by the state, but if he fails to tell prosecutors everything he knows, he risks forfeiting that protection, and he's a dead man walking.
If somebody goes into witness protection or gives evidence in court, state evidence, they have to give a full and accurate statement. If they're found to be lying about anything, their protection is removed.
To understand how Raffaele Imperiale fell so far, we need to understand how high he climbed. For years, he was one of the most wanted criminals in Europe. But unlike fugitives who spend their days hiding in basements, Imperiale vanished in plain sight. After he fled Italy in 2016, he spent €400,000 a month on his luxury lifestyle in Dubai. He dined in 7-star hotels, drove high-end cars, and surrounded himself with a small army of security. He bought a €60 million island in Dubai's artificial archipelago, the World, where each island represented a different country. His little piece of paradise was named Taiwan. Inside his villa, his obsession with wealth took a different form. Priceless pieces of art history hung on the walls, casually stashed like any other asset in his empire. Imperiale saw himself as more than a drug trafficker, as a connoisseur, a patron of the arts. He even once claimed in an interview, "I bought the Van Goghs because I was aware of their artistic value." But his real world wasn't one of fine art galleries and opera houses. It was built on violence and blood. Drug empires don't usually work together. In most cases, they destroy each other. But Imperiale and his closest allies changed the game. They created what law enforcement called the Super Cartel, a global operation that controlled 1/3 of Europe's cocaine trade. At its core were just 5 men. Daniel Kinahan, the Irish crime boss with political protection in Dubai. Ridouan Taghi, the Dutch-Moroccan enforcer linked to assassinations across the continent. Richard El Rico Vega, the Chilean trafficker with direct connections to the Colombian cartels. Edin Jacquemin, the Balkan smuggler who controlled the shipping routes into Europe. And then there was Rafael Imperiale, the businessman, financier, and logistics mastermind. They didn't just move cocaine, they controlled it. Every gram of Peruvian coke destined for Europe passed through their hands. Their network was so sophisticated that law enforcement described it as the cocaine Amazon. For years, it seemed unstoppable. But then everything changed overnight. The super cartel's success was built on secrecy. Their entire empire relied on encrypted messaging. Sky ECC, a network they believed was untraceable. They used it for everything, arranging shipments, laundering money, and even ordering assassinations. It was their most valuable tool, until it wasn't. In 2021, European authorities pulled off something the cartel never saw coming. They hacked Sky ECC. For the first time, law enforcement was reading the cartel's messages in real time.
As if we were at a table with the criminals, and it really was. They were discussing with each other, and we were listening in.
They watched as cocaine shipments worth billions were coordinated across continents. They saw murder plots being planned like business deals. And at the center of it all, the names that have once been ghosts. Kinahan, Taghi, El Rico, and Imperiale. One by one, the arrests started. August 2021, Dubai. Imperiale was lounging by the pool at his luxury penthouse when the police arrived. Inside, they found millions in cash, stacks of luxury watches, and over 80 hidden weapons, including AK-47s and 5,000 rounds of ammunition. On his wall, a framed picture of Pablo Escobar. But Imperiale didn't go down in a hail of bullets. He was arrested wearing nothing but swimming trunks and a blue shirt. For a man who had spent years evading the law, it was a humiliating end. But this wasn't the end of his story. It was just the beginning. In March 2022, Imperiale was extradited to Italy. His reality changed overnight. Gone were the luxury suites and security details. Instead, he faced 15 years in solitary confinement under Italy's brutal anti-mafia laws. He had 2 options: stay silent and face a slow death in isolation, or talk and become a marked man for life. He chose survival. But was it just self-preservation, or was it revenge? You see, Daniel Kinahan and Rafael Imperiale were close. They had worked together for years. So why was Imperiale extradited, while Kinahan remained untouched in Dubai? The answer was simple. Kinahan had something that Imperiale did not. A close friendship with a powerful Dubai royal. That connection had kept Kinahan safe. But Imperiale? he was deemed expendable. Was that the moment he decided to turn on his old allies? Since flipping, Imperiale has already given up crucial secrets. He's confirmed Kinahan's role as the boss of bosses, not just a participant in the super cartel, but its key decision maker. He's exposed internal cartel murder plots, including discussions about assassinations in Dubai. In one shocking revelation, Imperiale revealed how El Rico and other cartel members planned to bring in Colombian hitmen, nicknamed ninjas, to carry out a knife attack. The plan was shut down by Kinahan himself, reinforcing the idea that he has the final say on decisions at the top.
So Kinahan has been described previously as the boss of bosses.
The huge cargo ships crossing the globe and all the rest, and they're getting massive caches of cocaine from Peru on speedboats onto these giant boats that are crossing the Atlantic. And then the distribution is the likes of Imperiale.
Authorities believe he still holds key financial secrets. Imperiale was a logistics mastermind. He handled massive cocaine shipments from Peru to Europe, and his testimony has already helped dismantle money laundering operations. But investigators suspect he knows even more about hidden cartel bank accounts and offshore assets. If he reveals those details, billions in cartel funds could be seized, crippling the organization permanently. But the biggest question remains: how much will he say about Kinahan? There has been speculation that Imperiale may be negotiating an even better deal by offering authorities intelligence that directly links Kinahan to cartel-funded assassinations. While Kinahan has been named as a cartel leader, what's missing is evidence tying him to violent crimes. If Imperiale provides communications, transactions, or witness testimony connecting Kinahan to murders, it could be the final piece needed to bring him down. Imperiale has already delivered 4 separate statements to Italian and Dutch investigators. Some details have been leaked, but authorities are keeping much of it classified, fueling speculation that there's even bigger information yet to surface. If he speaks too much, the cartel will never stop hunting him. If he speaks too little, his deal with the state could collapse. Either way, Rafael Imperiale's life is hanging by a thread. The cartel doesn't forgive betrayal. The Camorra, the Moroccan Mafia, the Kinahan network, all of them want Imperiale dead. His only protection is the Italian state. But for how long?